Welcome to the parody, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite media. I'm Disassembly Drone Jenny, and today we're looking at Episode 4 Murder Drones, Cabin Fever, released in 2023. Cabin Fever is definitely a very rare episode of Murder Drones. Worker drones are just very casually hanging out with every single disassembly drone in sight. And because of the episode's common murderer. And I don't think that's a spoiler since this episode is 4 months old and the absolute solver Uzi's in the thumbnail. This episode also keeps up the show's extreme love of horror. The episode's name is Cabin Fever, and the camp they're at this episode was founded in 3002. I don't know if it's an intentional reference to Eli Roth's 2002 film of the same name, but I wouldn't be surprised if it actually was. My reasoning is that both have the same name, they're both slashers in some sort of way, and that 3002 is exactly 1,000 years after Cabin Fever's release in 2002. But there also could be a lot more inspiration behind what I think is the obvious. But of course, I don't have time to do that in this intro. This episode, however, does decide to kill off some secondary characters. There, however, is another introduction in this episode, the concept of zombie drones. However, zombie drone discussion is for another time. And for some reason, V wants to fucking murder Uzi this episode. However, there are a lot less kills in this episode compared to some of the others. Psst, 1 in 5. Let's see how many Uzi got when she had the feverish opportunity to, and get to the kills. The episode begins by showing us 3 dead worker drones right off the bat. A bus then rolls into the camp and lets out its load of 1 teacher and many students. Looks like Brain controlled his head fire. And well, of course, there's Uzi, the person behind this entire thing in the first place. Maybe because of Khan's experience there with dead worker drones and trees. He's reminded of his incredible drizz to where Uzi's just weirded out by it. She was worried about a constant murder drone break-in, which is probably why Khan is a doorman in the first place. When asked why we're even there in the first place, the teacher just puts everything on Uzi. And it exposes that basically all of her classmates hate her. And I guess counselors here are a bunch of... You're screwed. Well, I guess that's how you establish order among them. They then propose a lot of fantastic, distracting activities to which everyone doesn't want to follow. All except Thad and Lizzie. Thad because he's cool with them, and Lizzie because... You're way hotter than Doll! Uzi has to explain that she's basically friends to these murder drones. Well, fuck you, Uzi, we're going with the people who can murder us in a heartbeat. That almost happens with one camper until Uzi shows some signs of discomfort.
Nah, just full of love.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
This one's a pilot.
Murder drones invented lesbianism. And however, lets Uzi do some investigating. She opens the door to a cabin featuring one of those bugs from episode 2. She looks at everything in this cabin, but nothing catches her eye as more as a calendar? I don't know if it implies that dogs have existed in this universe, but if it does, then that's awesome. Less awesome is this hand jump scare. What doesn't help is that she hears somebody screaming outside, but it's not actually what she thinks it is. Oh no, it's just them doing activities that are distracting yet fun. There's really not that much of substance in the activity parts though. However, that window is a reflection, so how about we absolutely solve that crack in the window? She's at high temperature, so she decides to try to eat the arm that she packed in with her. A brief flashback shows that she got it from Doll's House of Mysteries. Before she can eat it, V pops in saying that, hey, you're gonna be my next victim. She warns her and gives hints about it multiple times during her interaction in this scene. Even putting a scratch in, like, what is that, her eye area? V goes away so Uzi can get that scratch off of her eyes. However, she accidentally threw her backpack over that bug in what the Murder Drone subreddit calls the WhatsApp bug. Get it? Because I was like green on it? That bug leads her to a certain spot on the floor, and she opens it to find a dead worker drone. Who knows how long it's been down there? The papers she finds are a bunch of disturbing drawings and a disassembly notice. There is, however, a sharp thing in the back, and then that WhatsApp bug pops up again. It scans her entire face, so this WhatsApp bug can start, a WhatsApp chat with her? Is that why the community names it that in the first place? It tells her to call an elevator, which she doesn't know where it is, so then it tells her to place it on a proximity reader, and obviously she doesn't know where that is. But it just messes up her response, and oh god, is that Dawn in the background? We then get some super messed up archery where everything goes wrong. The worst mishap of them all is an arrow that goes through a classmate's head. However, V wants to get some more kills. Way more kills to be exact. Uzi pops up and Ed makes the unfortunate mistake to tell everyone that Uzi's nearby. Everyone is scared by it, especially this guy, who shoots an arrow at her and she stops it in mid-air. And if you thought it would go normally, well, hell no. It turns into oil in mid-air and she makes some weird bug thing out of it. Jesus Christ, that looks disgusting. V realizes what has happened to Uzi and that causes even more stress to come out between all of them. Darren and Rebecca go up to N for comfort. Darren, you bisexual motherfucker. She even sees the dead worker drone there and that prompts her to run away as quickly as possible. Oh, V's definitely going to kill Uzi now. In a state of absolute panic, she closes herself entirely within the cabin she found, even all the blinds. She tries eating the worker drone arm, but then the vision of a clock gets in and she destroys all electricity in there. However, this one light over here turns red, spelling out some very bad news. Meanwhile, it goes over to her and feeling if they should half-title her or not. Well, V is not afraid, N is, about her being murdered. And you know, she probably is too. N flies off and we get another one of those moments.
Hot? Not hot? You're too good for him.
Seriously, how do none of you see what's going on here? V retracts all of N's rules and says they can do whatever they want. Oh, come on, you know way too much. Oh, no way, I don't think that was about them knowing anything. It's just that they wanted to sneak out to make out. They get to the cabin and Darren can't even get it open. It only looks promising for at least half a second until a flashlight gets thrown out, showing the contents of a backpack. Darren bonks that over his head to get it working, and what they see is truly scarring. Or no, it's not what they see, it's more of what they don't see. And follows some footsteps until the target goes missing. What is this? Is this cabin for like security? And goes and skedaddles with some of the schematics over there until he finds a tape. It gives him flashbacks to someone else, an arm in that manner from episode 2. Over at the slop house, things have gone south. Uzi is straight up eating the remains of that kid Darren. And boy, I thought some of those kills in episode 2 were too much. This is just a whole nother level. I don't think Uzi cares that much at this point. What about the bottom half of someone else? Jeez! Hey, look at this frame where Uzi's eyes are just completely missing. Over at a fire, they're being told some spooky stuff while roasting, battery marshmallows? This girl, Emily, is reading a Final Girl survival guide until they see the top half of Rebecca's body. They wanted to give visuals of who it was that cut her completely in half, but when she describes exactly what Uzi looks like, they still don't know. This is the last time we see her alive in the entire show, so I'm gonna count her as dead now. In a bit, a frame does confirm this. And speaking of the murderer, there she is. I find it strange how her in her absolute solver form completely changes her to look more like a disassembly drone. Regardless of what her appearance looks like, she still ends up exploding Braden's head with the absolute solver. I like the detail that his body starts burning after he dies. They decide to split up because according to the book, that's what it said, although it's revealed that the book does not exactly say that. The first one we focus on is Sam, who literally everybody thinks is high on something. Anyway, he trips and hits a tree, but then he sees something that'll scare him for life. Or at least for the last few seconds, he has alive and high. That Final Girl book is dropped onto the top of him, and he knows what's coming up next when he sees all that blood dropping on him. His death is confirmed for a scream. Lizzie looks around until she finds so-called Final Girl Emily. What is wrong with this thing on my floor? What? However, it's not actually her. She's actually been killed by Uzi, which is revealed when she's brutally decapitated. Your skepticality eliminated. She's actually almost killed by her until V comes in and saves her. She's slashed by V into a right angle, and because of that, she lets Lizzie go. Because of everything that's happened to her, V calls it Uzi's sin. Side note, that's actually the name of another character we'll be getting to know a lot more next episode. Of course, Uzi doesn't know who that is, so she goes in and tries to kill V. Something is stabbed into the side of her head, which causes a rocket to go off and fling Lizzie for the second episode in a row. She tackles V down to the ground, and it looks like it's it for her. That is until N comes in and saves her. She also gets flung up into the air, lol. Also, why would he not come back? They wouldn't just split up from each other like that. And now it's time for what me and some others call therapy with N. N comes down and starts talking to Uzi, but she doesn't want him looking at her because she's gross and just eating people. She doesn't want N to leave her, and honestly, I would wish I could play the entire scene by itself, but I can't. and explains that scary stuff would have actually been scary if not for her, because she always has a way to make it fun. Eventually, they do find a way to make things silly by the end. That is before they make impact onto the ground. She apologizes to N for everything that had happened, including killing all those people. However, both Lizzie and V think this is gross. She walks away and calls V a diva, and she just smirks at her. Eventually, they leave camp and V takes the responsibility for killing everyone.
Yo, I get hungry, idiot.
No name calling, just a question.
Some light appears to be shining on Uzi, which appears to be hurting her, so N protects her. The episode ends with a look at that VHS tape and with a concerned expression on N's face. There's a memorial to Brayden and a special thanks to Epic Games? What? V might not be coming to Fortnite anytime soon, but I do know what is coming soon. The numbers. Let's get to those. 12 people died in cabin fever. The victims consisted of 6 men, 3 women, and 3 unknowns, giving us an even pie chart inside of an even pie chart. The symmetry is insane. This is the lowest kill count of the entire series, lower than the other thing I mentioned earlier, and the 5th occurrence of this count on the parody. With a runtime of 21 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 1.75 minutes. I'll give Amethyst Flamethrower to Darren because seriously, that is kinda graphic. I'll give Broken Pistol to that stoner guy Sam. He was literally killed with some screams off screen. And that's it. Murder Drones Episode 4 Cabin Fever was released in April 2023, nearly a month and a half after the prominent. Something as quick as that ensures a 2-month wait for the next episode, Home, which will be instead a 2-day wait from this one, coming on my birthday, August 17th. Would you look at that? But until then, I'm Disassembly Drone Jenny, and this has been a parody. That outro went on for way too long, so I'm gonna make this second outro simple. Thanks for watching.